Questions 1 through 10 on the 2016 Grade 10 AMC 10A. What is the value of 11 factorial minus 10 factorial over 9 factorial? All right, well, you can do it the long way, but it'll do it the factoring way. Let's factor out a 10 factorial, and when you do, you get 11 minus 1. And then this is over 9 factorial. 10 factorial over 9 factorial cancels out to give just 10, and then the 11 minus 1 is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. So, as you can see, with a little bit of factoring, a lot cancels out. So number 1, the answer is B. For what value of x does 10 to the power of x times 100 to the power of 2x equal 1000 to the power of 5? Let's convert everything to the powers of 10. So this will be 10 squared to the power of x, and this is 10 to the power of 3 to the power of 5. So this is 10x times 10. Sorry, this should be 2x right here. So that's going to be 4x. And then this is 10 to the power of 15. So combining, this would be x plus 4x, which is 5x. And that's 10 to the power of 15. The bases are the same, so that means the exponents are the same. 5x is 15, and therefore x is equal to 3. So number 2, the answer is C. For every dollar Ben spent on bagels, David spent 25 cents less. Ben paid $12.50 more than David. How much did they spend in the bagel store together? So B for Ben, D for David. Their ratio is 1 over 0.75. But if D represents how much David spent, Ben spent $12.50 more. So he's actually going to be D plus $12.50. And then this is, of course, just D. This is 1 over 0.75. Cross multiply, and you get D plus 12. You get D on this side, and then on that side it would be 0.75 D plus 12.5 times 0.75. And then put everything on one side and get 0.25 D, and 12.75 times 12.5 times 0.75 is 9.375, and then divide through by 0.25, and you get D equals to 37.5. So finally, they want how much both of them spent. Well, Ben is D plus 12.50. David is just D. That combined is the total. So that's 2D plus 12.50. And D is 37.5. So that plus 12.50. Let's see, 75 plus 12 is going to be 87.5. $87.50. So number 3, the answer is C. The remainder function can be defined for all real numbers x and y, with y not equal to 0 by remainder of xy is x minus y times x over y, where bracket denotes the greatest integer less than or equal to x over y. What is the value of remainder 3/8, comma minus 2/5? Okay, so using that definition, we will calculate this. Remainder 3 over 8 minus 2 over 5, and that equals 3 over 8 minus 2 over 5, and then in that interesting looking bracket, 3 over 8 divided by negative 2 over 5. Okay, so this is 3 over 8. This becomes positive, and then in that bracket we have 3 over 8 over 5 over 2 if you cross multiply, and then there's going to be a negative in there. So this will be 3 over 8 plus 2 over 5, and that's what, negative 15 over 16? Okay, so this we have to carefully figure out what it is equal to. And I'll just draw a very basic number line. where this is 0, this is plus 1, and this is minus 1. Negative 15 over 16, this guy is going to be approximately here somewhere. Negative 15 over 16 is just a little bit less than, a little bit right to the negative 1. It's whatever it is, 0.9 or something, 0.93, who knows. But what's important is this definition, the greatest integer less than or equal to x over y. Well, the greatest integer less than or equal to x over y would be negative 1. So that means this is negative 1. So we have 3/8 plus 2 over 5 times a negative 1. Okay, so this becomes 3 over 8 minus 2 over 5, and then we've got to add this fraction, 5, 5, 8, 8, 15 minus 16 over 40, and this is negative 1 over 40. And of the answer choices, that would be B. A rectangular box has side lengths in the ratio 1, 3, and 4. Which of the following could be the volume of the box? Okay, well, the volume is always length times width times height. And they've told me that the dimensions are in this ratio. So the dimensions L, W, H, or whatever, I mean, it doesn't really matter, are of the form 1, 3, 4. So basically of the form x, 3x, and 4x. Okay, so let's substitute those in. X, 3x, and 4x. And this looks like 12x to the power of 3. All right, so that's all we have now. We have to figure out which one of those. Well, that's not a number. I have my volume in terms of x. So we have to think about this a little bit. First of all, the volume has to be a multiple of 12, obviously. So which one of these are multiples of 12? Well, A is, B is not, C is not, D is, and so is E. Okay, we eliminated 3. Now when we divide through by 12, what do we get? Here we get 4. If we divide by 12, here we would get 8. And 144 divided by 12 is 12. So the reason I did that is because the volume divided by 12 is x cubed. So whatever I get here has to be a perfect cube. I got 4 here, 8 here, and 12 here. Which one of those 3 is a perfect cube? Well, obviously, it's the 8. 8 is the only one that's going to give you a perfect cube, and x is 2. And it told you that the side lengths are integers, and that's why we have to look for that perfect cube. So by process of elimination, we got number 5 to be equal to 96, and that would be choice D. Ximena lists the whole numbers 1 through 30 once. Emilio copies Ximena's numbers, replacing each occurrence of the digit 2 by the digit 1. Ximena adds her numbers and Emilio adds his numbers. How much larger is Ximena's sum than Emilio's? All right, let's just write out all the numbers from 1 to 30. All right, now let's talk about the sum. Ximena's sum is just going to be the sum from 1 to 30. And some of you know that formula, right? It's n times n plus 1 over 2 if you add up 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up until n. And since n in this case is 30, it would be 30 times 31 over 2, which is 15 times 31. And that is 465. Now let's talk about what happens with Emilio. Wherever there's a 2 in this whole list, it will be replaced by a 1. Okay, so let's do this. 1. There's a 2 here, so it's going to be 1. A lot of this doesn't change. It just remains the way it is. But now let's carefully ensure, oh, there's a 2 there, so I've got to put a 1. And then I don't think anything changes here for a while until we get to the 20. It can't be a 20. It's got to be replaced by a 1. And all of these are changed. This is going to become 1, 1, 1, 1 again, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8, 1, 9, and 3, 0. Okay, now we just got to add up these guys. Okay, well, I can. Let's see if I can do something quick. From here, I got a minus 1 because it went from 2 to 1. Nothing else changed until I got to here. It went from 12 to 11, so another minus 1. Nothing else changed until I got to here, and then that was minus 10, but all of these are going to be minus 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 times minus 10, so that's minus 100. And there's one I think that some people might miss. The 22 and the 11 actually went down a little bit further than minus 10. It went down by minus 11. So I got to account for one more. So really my sum is minus 103 from this guy. So 465 minus 103 is 362. And there you go. That is the two sums, and then we have to figure out how much larger Ximena's sum is than Emilio's. Well, 103. 103 is the difference. So number 6, the answer is D. The mean, median, and mode of the 7 data values are all equal to x. What is the value of x? Well, let's rearrange these. We have 40, 50, 60, and 90, 100, and 200. And then the median is x. So the median is the middle value. So this is the arrangement from smallest to largest. Okay, so I've got the median in there. The mean is obviously adding all these guys and dividing by 7. And that, interestingly, is also equal to x. So that means when you add these, what do we get here? 540 plus x is equal to 7. Cross multiply, get 7x is equal to 540 plus x, and that means 6x is equal to 540. So x is equal to 90. So that guy right there was a 90, and therefore the mode is also going to be 90 since the 90 appears twice, and that's the only number that appears more than once. So number 7, the answer is D. Trickster rabbit agrees with foolish fox to double fox's money every time fox crosses the bridge by rabbit's house, as long as fox pays 40 coins in toll to rabbit after each crossing. The payment is made after the doubling. Fox is excited about his good fortune until he discovers that all of his money is gone. After crossing the bridge 3 times, how many coins did Fox have at the beginning? So we got coins, then we have after crossing, and then we have after the payment, I guess. And it looks like this happens 3 crossings, so 1, 2, and 3, because after 3 times it looks like there's a bankruptcy. So let's say that the fox starts off with x. After the first crossing, his amount is doubled. So he goes from x to 2x. And then the payment has to be made, and the payment is 40 coins. So 2x minus 40. So they tell you that the payment is made after the doubling. Okay, so now we've done the first crossing. Now we get to the second crossing. When the second crossing starts, he has 2x minus 40 coins from here. Then that amount is doubled, so 4x minus 80. And then he has to pay 40 coins, so he has to go down to 4x minus 120. Again, same story. He starts off the third round with 4x minus 120 from here. It's doubled, so it's 8x minus 240. And then he has to pay 40 coins, so 8x minus 280. But they're telling me in the question that at this point, all his money is gone. So that means this has to equal 0. So 8x minus 280 equals 0. That means 8x is equal to 280. And dividing through by 8, I get 35 for x. So number 8, the answer is C. A triangular array of 2016 coins has 1 coin in the first row, 2 coins in the second row, 3 coins in the third row, and so on, up to n coins in the nth row. What is the sum of the digits of n? So we got 1 coin, 2 coins, 3 coins, and so on, right? Dot, 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 until we get to a whole bunch of coins. And we don't know that number, but we know it's equal to n. All right? And this whole thing is 2016. So that means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus dot, 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 all the way up until n is equal to 2016. And therefore we use that formula, n times n plus 1 divided by 2 is equal to 2016. So n times n plus 1, you multiply 2016 times 2, so we get 4032. Now, you can do a quadratic if you want, but I think inspection is a little bit better. Just think about 2 consecutive numbers that when multiplied together give you 4032. And when you fiddle around a little bit, you'll find that 63 and 64. Those 2 numbers multiplied together will give you 4032. So therefore n is 63. And they don't want n, they want the sum of the digits of n. Okay, no problem. The digits are 6 and 3. The sum of those digits is 6 plus 3, which is equal to 9. So number 9, the answer is 9, and that's choice D. A rug is made with 3 different colors as shown. The areas of the 3 differently colored regions form an arithmetic progression. The inner rectangle is 1 foot wide, and each of the 2 shared regions is 1 foot wide on all 4 sides. What is the length in feet of the inner rectangle? Well, let's label that inner rectangle's length L, and now we have to figure out area of this guy, I'll call it A1, area of this guy, A2, and that area I'll call A3. So I have A1, A2, and A3. And they tell me that they form an arithmetic progression, and arithmetic progressions are of the form A plus D, A plus 2D. All right, so let's figure this out. The first area is going to be just L times 1. So L times 1, which is of course just L. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Second one though, you have to take into consideration that we only want that part, this part. So just make sure that you don't make that mistake. So we've got to take the area of the big guy and subtract the little guy. So the big guy is going to be what? L plus 2. And then you multiply by 3, right? Because this is going to be L plus 2 since it's 1 on either side. This is 1 and this is 1. And then this is going to be 3 since this is 1, and that's 1. And also they tell you that in the question stem. All right, well, this is that part. And then I have to subtract from it the inner guy. So that's going to be L times 1, so which is just L. So this is going to be 3L plus 6 minus L, and that's going to be 2L plus 6. So now let's figure out A3. A3 is going to be, let's see here, L plus 1, 2, 3, 4. And the dimension here would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, so 5. And we're going to subtract from that the inner one. So that's going to be L plus 2 times 3. So that's going to be 5L plus 20 minus 3L minus 6. And that is 2L plus 14. All right, so we got our numbers, but we still have it in terms of L. We actually want the value of L. Well, in an arithmetic sequence, the second term, if you subtract from it the first term, you just get D, right? And that is equivalent to the third term, subtract from it the second term, A minus D like that, and as you can see, that also becomes D. So we'll do that in this, with these numbers here. And when you do, you get 2L plus 6 minus L is equal to 2L plus 14 minus 2L minus 6. So that is L plus 6, and this looks like 8. So that means L is equal to 2. And that's it. So number 10, the answer is 2, and that would be choice B.